Joining us now, Bert Dohmen, president of Dohmen Capital Research Institute. Bert, as always, we appreciate your insights, and we're happy to welcome you back here to America's Forum.
Well, good morning, JD. It's always a pleasure to be with you.
So, Bert, the recent market instability, how much of that can be attributed to fears over Ebola?
Well, I think the market was ready for a good correction anyway, no matter, even without Ebola, even without ISIS. In fact, last April, when they first announced the Alibaba IPO would take place sometime in September, we said the day of the IPO will be the top for some time in the stock market, and so far it has been the top. It was relatively easy to predict. Because Wall Street had to make sure that this would be successful, and they really kept the market up. The market would have gone down earlier than it did, but they had to keep the market up by pushing some of the big cap stocks upward. But the real distribution, the real decline already started on March 4th in the Russell 2000 small cap index. That was the actual top of the market. It was March 4th. That was the internal top. And after that was just distribution. Distribution is when big smart money sells to the less sophisticated money managers.
But NPR has this very interesting piece about the link between rising chocolate prices and the Ebola epidemic. The article actually points out that over half the world's cocoa is produced in the Ivory Coast of Ghana, which are both next door to Ebola-ravaged Liberia and New Guinea. The fear, of course, isn't that you can get Ebola from chocolate, but if the virus spreads, farmers in neighboring areas would flee to avoid being exposed. So should chocolate lovers stock up at this stage, would you say?
If you love chocolate enough, I guess you should. I don't think that makes up a big part of world GDP. So I'm not too worried about a lack of chocolate, although I love chocolate myself.
Yeah, I was going to say, Bert, it seems to me I don't know too many people who are not chocoholics in some way, shape, fashion, or form. But regardless of whether or not we continue to have chocolate bars, the fact is we need energy to get around with this economy. We're seeing gas prices falling. Why this decrease in prices at the pump? And could that be bad news, possibly?
Yes, JD, that's a very good question. The consensus from Wall Street is that lower oil prices are very bullish for the economy because it gives consumers more money in their pockets to spend on things. I think they've got the horse behind the cart, or the cart in front of the horse. It's really the other way around. What we're seeing is the effects of global deflation. We're seeing it in Europe. We're seeing it in China, in Asia, in Russia. We're seeing the entire world now on the edge of recession or in recession already. The U.S. is behind. The U.S. so far is the strongest, but it will be affected by that as well. And this is the result of this QE, where the central banks of the world have produced over $10 trillion of artificial money. And, money creation does not create prosperity. If a government could create prosperity, we would never have a recession. We would never have a depression. And obviously, history shows otherwise.
Well, it's interesting you bring up history and the lessons of history. We're going to step aside for a second, Bert Dohmen. But when we come back, Bert, very much want to talk to you about why people seem to be ignoring history, that fancy name quantitative easing, which in essence is just printing more money. Why is it the street and the financial markets don't seem to learn from history? We'll talk about that, also about airline stocks and some other things that affect the market. In the meantime, you heard what Bert had to say. What about falling gas prices? He says it could be a signal of trouble. But do you like to see those prices dropping at the pump? Why don't you tweet me your comments at NewsmaxTV, hashtag America's Forum. There's also NewsmaxTV.com/comment. And don't forget Facebook, where you're able to catch up with us at Facebook.com/Newsmax. America's Forum continues here on Newsmax TV right after this timeout.